Hello,
Yeah, sir, we could hear you, sir.
am I audible?
Yeah, sir, you're audible, sir.
You know,
Yes, we'll start the session in a minute. So I'll be presenting PPT now, and then we can start.
start பண்ணுவாரா?
Or you can start the PPT, sir. Start sharing the PPT.
Window தானே present now. Window.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we could see the PPT. Uh, yes, sir, we'll wait 1 more minute for the people to join. After that, we'll start, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Just சின்னதா தானே இருக்கேன்.
Okay, sir. We start the session without any delay. So you're ready, sir? 1 second, sir. Hello.
Hello, hello, Pawan.
Uh, Sir, 1 second, sir.
Oh,
Like, you could able to change the slide, sir.
wait, I'll check.
ஒரு வாட்டி செக் பண்ணிக்கோங்க சார்.
Yes.
எங்களுக்கு சேஞ்ச் ஆகல சார். Maybe you just stop sharing and start again, sir. Share the entire screen, sir. Not the window. Maybe share the entire screen.
Entire screen option early.
Sorry, sir. I could not hear you.
Entire screen I'm not able to check.
Option இருக்குமே sir. You might have option. What is the other option, sir? Two options
Your
you
entire
said, no?
screen, your window, your tab.
Your entire screen.
You're able to see? Pawan.
1 second, sir. One second, sir.
Sir,
No,
sir,
sir.
could you
Not
hear
yet.
me?
Yeah.
Sir, and the present screen share your screen option நமக்கு வரும்போது entire screen ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் வரும் சார். விண்டோ கூட ஒரு 3 ஆப்ஷன் வரும்.
ஆமா, entire screen.
tab, entire screen.
Yeah, now press entire screen.
Entire screen வந்து கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க சார்.
Cancel. Present now. Entire screen.
ஆமா சார்.
Now. Now what to do?
சார் அதுக்கு ஒரு பாப்அப் விண்டோ வரும் சார். அதுல வந்து அந்த
அதுல வந்து
ஸ்கிரீன்
அந்த இது
நீங்க காமிக்கிற ஸ்கிரீன் வந்து இன்னும் ஒரு வாட்டி லெஃப்ட் கிளிக் பண்ணிட்டு ஷேர்னு கொடுங்க சார்.
உங்களோட இதுதான் வருது இந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்.
ஆமா சார்.
ஆமா சார்.
அதுக்கப்புறம்
அதான் சார், அதான்.
இத கிளிக் பண்ணிட்டு ஷேர்னு கொடுங்க சார்.
ஷேர்.
எஸ் சார், எஸ்.
எஸ் சார். இப்போ அந்த பிபிடி ஓபன் பண்ணுங்க சார். கீழே மினிமைஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா?
ஆமா.
அதை ஓபன் பண்ணுங்க சார். இப்போ ஸ்லைட் ஷோ போடுங்க சார். இப்போ ஸ்லைட்ஸ் மூவ் பண்ணுங்க சார். ஓகே சார். ப்ளீஸ் கேரி ஆன்.
Okay, sir. I'm going to start. Hi, guys. How are you all? I'm very happy to see you guys in this evening. Today, we are going to see an important topic related to renal system. That is going to be glomerular filtration rate. From the name itself, we could know glomerular means something related to kidney, and then filtration. It's going to filter some waste substance. So, to explain all this in detail, we have Dr. K. Sendil Kumar, who is professor and HOD of Physiology Department in Mada Medical College, Chennai. And then sir is being teaching many stuff for the students, and he's also very student friendly. And currently he even started a YouTube channel, which he teaches a lot in that. So for those guys who are interested to check on sir's video, we have been posted the YouTube link of his channel, so you guys can watch it up for any session. So it might be helpful for you guys. So that's all, sir. So, sir, how are you doing? So,
Okay, I'll start.
Okay, sir. Take care.
Good evening, students. Yeah, as you told, today we'll be discussing on an important topic, glomerular filtration. So especially for first year students, it will be an essay from the excretory system. We can expect it also as a university question. And as you all see in the homeostasis class, which is the one of the most important organs for homeostasis means, usually we used to mention it as kidney. Kidney is considered to be the most important organ for homeostasis. As you all know, it does most of the functions. So straight away, I enter into the topic. The specific learning objectives of today's session will be: what is GFR, glomerular filtration rate? What are the factors affecting glomerular filtration rate? About filtration barrier. What is glomerular filtration barrier? The three things together will constitute this barrier. We will discuss that. KF. What is filtration coefficient? The Starling forces, some pressures which I will be discussing, which is one of the main factors affecting the glomerular filtration rate. Hope if second year students are there, they will have an idea. Second year and third year students. First year, especially if MADA students are there, we are to start a excretory system. So they may be listening it for the first time. So about the pressures, Starling forces you should be knowing. Then finally, I will be touching upon autoregulation. Autoregulation means when GFR is increased, that's what physiology, homeostasis, a type of homeostasis. When GFR is increased, what your body does to bring it back to normal. Autoregulation can be seen in BP also, in regulation of blood pressure. So all these things I will try to finish within 1 hour as possible. So we'll enter into the topic. Yeah, this is general mechanism of urine formation. So we have 3 steps: glomerular filtration. So whatever is coming through the glomerulus, that we call as glomerular filtration. So the process of filtrate leaving the capillaries and entering into the Bowman's capsule. This is the first step in the urine formation, glomerular filtration. And out of that filtrate which is coming, almost 97 to 98% of the filtrate will be reabsorbed completely. That is tubular reabsorption. That is the second step in the urine formation. Finally, something which does not come through the glomerulus but will be secreted in the nephron, that we call it as tubular secretion. So these 3 steps together will form your urine. So glomerular filtration is, which we are going to discuss, which is getting filtered in the glomerulus. Apart, whatever is being filtered, most of them will be reabsorbed. That is tubular reabsorption. Bypassing this both, some will be secreted, like some acid, something will be secreted in the tubule. So we have to calculate this glomerular filtration and minus this reabsorption, and again add the secretion, which will constitute our urine. Yeah. So total cardiac output is 5 liters per minute, which you know. And 25% of the cardiac output is given to the kidneys. So you calculate 25% of 5 liters will be approximately 1200 ml. So you can note it down. Renal blood flow is 1250 ml approximately, or you can keep it as 1200 ml. Renal plasma flow is around 60% of the renal blood flow. Or otherwise, renal plasma flow will be around 650 to 700 ml. That also you can remember. So you can just see here. This is how the urine is pumped. So tubular, glomerular filtration, whatever is being filtered. Out of that, what is reabsorbed, we have to minus that. Then something is being secreted, we have to add that. So totally we get the urine formation, the 3 steps which I told. Here I mentioned about how much is GFR. So GFR will be, I have not yet told, the total cardiac output is 5 liters. The kidney will be receiving 25% of the cardiac output, which is around 1200 ml. So renal blood flow is 1200 ml. Out of that renal blood flow, around 60% will be renal plasma flow. So renal blood flow is different. Renal plasma flow is different. Renal plasma flow is around 600 to 700 ml. That also you can note it down. Yeah, now coming to glomerular filtration. Yeah, next question. It is also called as ultrafiltrate of plasma. This being an some YouTube forum, I think I can't interact. But anyway, my students can answer in WhatsApp also, as usually does. So glomerular filtrate is also called as ultrafiltrate of plasma. Otherwise, it almost has the same composition as that of plasma, except plasma proteins, because plasma proteins are large in size and are usually negatively charged. So plasma proteins usually cannot get filtered in the process of glomerular filtration. So that's why it is also called as ultrafiltrate. That you should remember. If they ask why glomerular filtrate is also called as ultrafiltrate, means whatever things is coming via the afferent and efferent arteriole, all those things forms the glomerular filtrate, and almost everything will get coming into the Bowman's capsule except plasma proteins mostly. So that is called as an ultrafiltrate of the plasma. Yeah, as I mentioned, the Starling forces, 4 pressures are there. For time being, you note it on 4 pressures. Later we'll discuss about the 4 pressures. So these 4 pressures will determine the net pressure, which also helps in glomerular filtration. And one more thing I mentioned is KF, filtration coefficient. So that also I will discuss. KF also determines glomerular filtration. So as of now, 4 pressures, which are called as Starling forces, that will determine glomerular filtration. I will make it simple. If that pressure, net filtration pressure, we call NFP. If that net filtration pressure is increased, glomerular filtration will increase. If that overall pressure decrease, the glomerular filtration will decrease. KF is filtration coefficient. Just write it down, KF. If that filtration coefficient is increased, glomerular filtration will increase. If it decreases, that will decrease. So glomerular filtration is product of 2 things: net filtration pressure and KF, filtration coefficient. As I mentioned, ultrafiltrate lacks, obviously RBC, WBC also cannot get filtered. They are large in size. So they lack the cellular elements, and in fact RBCs are also negatively charged. And so they are essentially protein free, very important point. So the GFR, glomerular filtrate, which is coming through the arterioles, are protein free. All these things gets filtered. Glucose, amino acid, sodium, most of the ions will get filtered, and they are similar to plasma. That's why we call it as ultrafiltrate. The autoregulation, as I mentioned, they mostly maintain the GFR within the normal range. GFR is 125 ml per minute. That also we will discuss. For example, if GFR is increasing, autoregulation will come to play to bring it back to 125, like how our BP is maintained. Autoregulation is very, very important topic. So that is, if GFR is increased, how it comes back to normal, or if GFR is decreased, how it comes back to normal. Yeah, coming to factors that influence the GFR. Yeah, characteristics of glomerular capillary membrane. So, for example, the thickness of the capillary membrane that may play a role in GFR. Surface area of the capillary membrane that may play a role in GFR. Similarly, permeability of the capillary membrane, how permeable. So all these only we call it as KF, filtration coefficient. So note it down. Filtration coefficient is nothing but it determines the characteristics of the capillary membrane, like surface area, permeability. Now I can ask myself, if surface area of the glomerular capillary membrane is increased, what will be the GFR? So you can answer no. So obviously, when the surface area of the capillary membrane is more, the filtration is going to be more because it has more surface for filtration. So GFR will be more. So like that. Similarly, next question. If the permeability of the glomerular capillaries is more, what will be GFR? Yeah, obviously GFR will be more because they are more permeable. So these two together is called as KF, filtration coefficient. So obviously when KF is more, GFR also will be more. Now coming to forces acting across the membrane is what I told, 4 pressures. So what are those forces name? I just now mentioned. Yeah, my students have answered. Starling forces, correct. So forces acting across the membrane are Starling forces, which are the mix of all those 4 pressures, which I will discuss. Next question. If renal blood flow increases, whether GFR will increase. Renal blood flow means the blood flow coming to the kidney. And obviously, afferent arteriole is a part of a nephron, and nephron is a part of kidney. You know, each kidney contains 1 to 2 million nephrons, or 1.2 million nephrons. So whenever renal blood flow increases, GFR increases. So what are the factors influencing GFR? Surface area of the capillary membrane, permeability of the capillary membrane, the 4 pressures, which are called the Starling forces, and the renal blood flow. Yeah, what is renal corpuscle? The diagram it is here. Okay. This entire thing is called as renal corpuscle. Just see this diagram. Then I'll go to the previous slide. Yeah, glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule. So this is glomerulus is nothing but the endothelial lining and basement membrane. Yeah, just write it down. What is glomerular filtration barrier? Something which is filtering the plasma proteins and allowing only certain substances. Because of this, just write it down. What constitutes? We also call it as a triad. So glomerular filtration barrier is nothing but it is composed of capillary endothelium, basement membrane, and podocytes. The diagram next I will show. So glomerular filtration barrier is composed of capillary endothelium. We all know that capillaries are lined by endothelium. So the capillary endothelium, and below the capillary endothelium there will be basement membrane, which has 3 layers. And then below the basement membrane there is podocytes. So all these 3 act as a filtration barrier. So whatever is being filtered, it will first come through the glomerulus, and from the glomerulus, it has to enter through the glomerular filtration barrier. So I will go to the diagrams here. So let this be afferent arteriole, then this is efferent arteriole. Yeah, this is glomerular capillary. You can see here, glomerular capillary. So all the capillaries will be lined by endothelium, as I mentioned. Yeah, so this will be the capillary endothelium. I will show it here itself. So capillary endothelium, and below the endothelium, you have the basement membranes here. This one is the basement membrane. Usually, basement membrane is 3 layers: externa, media, interna. Like how we tell for Russell wall, basement membrane also has 3 layers, and this is endothelium, and this one is podocytes. So all these 3 together, we call it as filtration barrier. Now coming to here, afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole. So whatever is going to come inside this will constitute your glomerular filtrate, and it has to come through this filtration barrier and then enter into proximal convoluted tubule. Now the question. So anyone who has my number can just WhatsApp me so that I will make
Sir,
it.
even participant can post on the chat box also, sir. Let's wait.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you can also post it in chat box. Yeah, what is the special feature of renal capillary? From the diagram itself, you can tell, or I will give a clue. Most of you know. See, this is afferent arteriole, which leads to the capillary, and the other side of the capillary is efferent arteriole. So what is the special feature? And this is the only capillary which has this characteristic. My question is, what is the special feature of renal capillary? So you can post it in chat box. So we all know capillaries has 2 ends. One will be arteriolar end, another will be venous end. But see here, both ends are arterioles. So you can clearly see in the diagram. So this is also arteriole, afferent arteriole, and this is also arteriole, efferent arteriole. There you have the capillary, the glomerular capillary. So one side of the capillary is arteriole end, accepted afferent arteriole. But another side of the capillary, we expect venous, but it is arteriole only. So both ends are arteriole. That is the special characteristics of renal capillary. The next question obviously will be asked, why both ends are arteriole means? That's why it has high hydrostatic pressure of around 60 millimeter mercury. In fact, if you take any other capillary in our system, it will be around 20 to 30 millimeter mercury. Average 25 like that we can keep. But glomerular capillary has high capillary hydrostatic pressure, which is around 60 mm mercury. Now again, next question. Why it is more 60? Why it is needed to be more 60 than other capillaries? Because it does the process called ultrafiltration, or it has to maybe filter it around 60 to 100 times each particles which are coming, and it has to recycle it complete. I told no, around 97 to 98% will be reabsorbed. So that's the main function of the kidney, ultrafiltration. So for the process of ultrafiltration, that much pressure is required. So to maintain that much pressure, both ends are arterial. So we can go in reverse also. So again, repeat. Renal capillary has special characteristics. Both are arterioles here. We all know one capillary, one end will be arteriolar end, another end will be venous end. But whereas in case of renal capillary, both are arteriole. The reason is when both ends are arteriole, the pressure is usually a little bit more. It is around 60 mm instead of 20 to 30. Why it is 60 means it does the special process called ultrafiltration, or it does it 50 to 60 times. So whatever is being filtered, it has to come through the glomerular capillary, reach the Bowman space, and it has to be reabsorbed in proximal columnar tubule or loop of Henle or distal columnar tubule. So whatever comes has to be recirculated. Otherwise, note it down, recirculation. This recirculation happens again and again. That's why that pressure is needed. So that is the special feature. We leave that. You now come to glomerular filtration barrier. As I told, three things. This is capillary endothelium, which lines the glomerular capillary. This is basement membrane, and this is podocyte. Food processor podocyte. You can see like nails, like things. So all these three together forms filtration barrier. Now we'll go one by one. The capillary endothelium. It has fenestrations. I hope you can understand what are fenestrations. Fenestrations are nothing like hole-like structure or penetrating structures, as the name suggests, through which some particles are allowed here up to 20 nanometer, or even up to 50 nanometers is allowed through the capillary endothelium. So just note it down. Capillary endothelium has fenestrations. The fenestrations will not allow very large particles. For example, if fenestration size are 40 to 50 nanometer, more than that size will not be able to enter into the fenestrations. So that will remain there as such. Remaining thing, almost everything can enter through the capillary endothelium because that size is little bit large only. Once it penetrates the capillary endothelium, it enters into the next thing. It is called a basement membrane. See here. Yeah, this line, white color. This is basement membrane. As I mentioned, it has 3 layers. Now you students can also type what is the basement membrane does, how it prevents some substances. You can type in chat box or WhatsApp me. So the basement membrane main thing is they are negatively charged, note it down. So endothelium has fenestrations which will allow only certain substances. Basement membrane main thing is they are negatively charged. So what will happen negatively charged? When any negative charge substance comes, they will be repelled. That is, like charges will repel, opposite charges will attract. That is always there. Opposite always gets attracted. So what happens? For example, you take plasma proteins. They are negatively charged. So when plasma proteins comes, some small or medium-sized plasma proteins will be able to penetrate these fenestrations. The fenestrations will cross the capillary endothelium and come to the basement membrane. They will feel happy. Oh, I just crossed one barrier. Now entering into basement membrane. But what happens? Here they will be repelled back to go back to the glomerular capillaries because of the negative charge. So note it down. Basement membrane has negative charges. In case if they cross the basement membrane, there is again one more barrier in the form of podocytes. Note it down. Food processes of podocytes. And you can see here some slit-like substances. This is called filtration slit or slit diaphragm. Yeah, the space between these two is called filtration slit. The space between the two podocytes is called a filtration slit, whereas the one which is connecting the podocytes is called slit diaphragm. Yeah, see here, these black color dots which are connecting the podocytes, or they are also like epithelial cells. So the epithelial cells which are lining the podocytes are called slit diaphragm. Note it down. The space between the two podocytes is called filtration slit. So they also act as a barrier, and these black dots which are the slit diaphragm actually continues as the capsule of Bowman's, or otherwise the Bowman's capsule. So this will continue that circle. You can see here. Yeah, this will continue like Bowman's capsule, and the space will be called as Bowman's space. The space between the glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, we call it as Bowman's space. So hope you are now clear with this triad, which is filtration barrier. And usually once, if you want to know the size of the particles which will come here, it will be usually 7 to 9 nanometer. The size which comes here is around 50. Once it comes here, it will be around 20 to 30. Once it comes here, it will be 7 to 9 nanometer. So only the particles which are that size will be able to come. Only the particles which are not negatively charged will be able to come. Then You can ask, sir, chloride or negatively charged. Whether it can come, yeah, chloride can come. Though it is negatively charged, it is not so much powerful like plasma proteins or RBCs. So don't confuse. So with this, I will stop this filtration barrier. So hope you understood the specialty of the renal corpuscle, why both are arteriolarynx, and about the endothelium, basement membrane, and the food process. These three together forms filtration barrier. Know the difference between slit diaphragm, which is the points connecting the two podocytes, and filtration slit, which is the space between the two podocytes. And obviously, all these three role is to filtrate whichever is wanted, or monitor the process of filtering. Yeah, everything I explained. Electric charge also I explained. So negative will be repelled. Yeah, now coming to KF. Usually we'll write it in small f, it's okay. So note it down. KF is also called as filtration coefficient. So filtration coefficient is one of the factors which determines glomerular filtration rate. It is a product of surface area, as I mentioned. If surface area of the capillary is going to be more, what will happen? Obviously, there is more space for the filtrate to enter, and obviously GFR will be more, no doubt in that. If permeability of capillaries is increased, what will happen? Yeah, obviously more permeability or more fenestrations, so more filtrate can enter, GFR will be more. If I have written here diabetic nephropathy, you can type. What happens to GFR in diabetic nephropathy? You can type in chat box. So in diabetic nephropathy, the surface area usually gets decreased, and because of that, KF will be decreased, and because of that, GFR will be decreased. So starting itself, I should have mentioned that formula. Anyway, you can note it down. GFR is equal to the Starling forces, net filtration pressure, NFP, net filtration pressure into. I'm happy my students are typing it in WhatsApp. Okay, GFR is equal to net filtration pressure into KF. Net filtration pressure, I'm telling it to start the four forces, Starling forces, which I will discuss. And now see here, glomerulonephritis, you take either acute or chronic. You might have heard about this term glomerulonephritis, where the inflammation of glomeruli takes place. Now you can type in glomerulonephritis, what will happen to the permeability of capillaries? It will increase or decrease. You can type yourself. In glomerulonephritis, yeah, obviously the permeability of capillaries will decrease. So what will happen to GFR? GFR will decrease. That's what. So KF decreases, GFR decrease. KF depends on surface area and permeability of the capillaries. KF is filtration coefficient. If you want to know the value of KF, you can note it down, 12.5. The next question will ask how to measure KF. So we usually don't measure directly KF. We use the formula. That's what will come. I told now GFR is equal to net filtration pressure into KF. GFR is 125 ml per minute. That you can note it down. Anyway, I will explain. Note it down. GFR is 125 ml per minute. KF we will find out. KF is equal to GFR by net filtration pressure. So net filtration pressure we are going to find out. So now again ask, how much is renal blood flow? How much is renal blood flow? How much percentage of cardiac output is taken by kidneys? The answer is 25%, which is 25% of 5 liters. It will be approximately 1200 to 1250 ml. If you want to round it, 1200 ml. Out of that, 60% will be renal plasma flow, which is around 650 to 700 ml. GFR is glomerular filtration rate, that I will show you. This again you can note it down. What are the factors influencing GFR? I already explained. Surface area, permeability. Yeah, 4 nanometer obviously will be easily filtered. Now next question, why 8 nanometers not easily filtered means the podocyte, the slit diaphragm and the slit which we discussed. Two types we discussed, slit diaphragm and filtration slit. They do not allow size more than 8 nanometer. So 8 nanometers, more than 8 nanometers are not easily filtered. Obviously, negatively charged particles are repelled. The reason is basement membrane, both outside basement membrane and inside part of the basement membrane are negatively charged. So they repel, like charges repel. Yeah, one more new term. Don't confuse filtration fraction with filtration coefficient. Filtration fraction is, I told renal plasma flow is 700 ml. The reason, you know, around 60% of 1250 ml is renal plasma flow. So which is 700 ml. Now don't ask why it is 60%, just keep it. Renal plasma flow is 700 ml. Out of that 700 ml, how much is going to the glomerulus? That is called a filtration fraction. Just listen again. What is filtration fraction is? You have to come to this diagram. Yeah, see here. Here, whatever is coming through the afferent arteriole, which is going to the plasma is renal plasma flow. Just listen. So this is renal plasma flow, which is around 700 ml. Out of that 700 ml, how much is going to be filtered? I told GFR is 125. Out of that 700 ml, how much percentage is filtered means approximately 20%. You calculate 20 by 100 into 700. Yeah, which will be approximately 140. Yeah, 20%. So filtration fraction is how much percentage of renal plasma flow is entering into the glomerulus. Yeah. The filtration fraction is the portion of plasma that is filtered, or out of the 700 ml, how much is filtered. You can use the formula. GFR is 125 ml by renal plasma flow is 700 ml, which we calculate, it comes to around 1.15 to 0.20. We can fix it as 0.20, 20%. So filtration fraction is the portion of plasma that is filtered, which is around 0.20. GFR value is 125 ml. Plasma flow value is 700 ml. So out of 700 ml, how much is going is filtration fraction. How much is going actually? 125 ml. This is fixed. So everywhere GFR is 125 ml. Some books it will be given 120, it's okay, but you can keep it as constant, 125 ml per minute. So per day, if you want to calculate, it will be 180 liters per day. So only 125 ml is entering into the glomerulus. So what happens to the others? The remaining 80 to 85% of the renal plasma flow continues to go into the afferent arteriole and peritubular capillaries and finally enters into the renal bed. So this is not our today's discussion. We are just concentrating on the glomerular filtration rate, which is 125 ml. So out of the 700 ml which is coming, 125 ml is taken, or 125 ml is filtered, or 20% of that renal plasma flow. What is the 20%? It is filtration fraction. Yeah. Now again, what are the factors that influence glomerular filtration rate? Filtration coefficient Kf, which you know, product of permeability and the surface area. Starling forces, I'm yet to go into it. Starling forces obviously determines the GFR. Yeah, now next question. Sympathetic stimulation, whether it will increase GFR or decrease GFR. If you have an idea, you can tell, or I will discuss in coming. Renal blood flow, no doubt. Increase in renal blood flow will increase GFR, no doubt in that. Size, shape, electrical charges we discussed. Size we discussed. Shape we will see later. Shape also, surface area is more, GFR is going to be more. So whatever shape, if it is going to alter the surface accordingly, GFR will vary accordingly. 125 ml per minute, note it down. It comes to 180 liters per day. Yeah, now only this term is coming, I think. GFR is directly proportional to net filtration pressure. So one part I finished KF. Now coming to second part, net filtration pressure. Yeah, any change in GFR is maybe due to this pressure, which is controlled by afferent and efferent arteriole. As I mentioned, both will be arteriolar and in the capillary. So this afferent and efferent arteriole pressure changes will determine the net filtration pressure, which will determine the GFR, glomerular filtration rate. Yeah, KF is one already we discussed. As I told, the 4 pressures. Now listen carefully. GC is nothing but glomerular capillary. So P means hydrostatic pressure. Just write it down. So glomerular capillary has 2 pressures. I will divide it like the diagram is there. So here, this is glomerular capillary. This is afferent arteriole. This is from McGraw-Hill. Anyway, all our books has this diagram. So this is from afferent arteriole. Let this be efferent arteriole. So whatever comes, renal plasma flow will be 700 ml. Out of that 700 ml, how much is coming? 125 ml is coming, which is glomerular filtration rate. Now what are these pressures? I told 4 pressures. Just see here. Yeah, Just concentrate this glomerular capillary and Bowman space. Then it becomes easy. So glomerular capillaries has two pressures. Note it down. One is hydrostatic pressure of glomerular capillary, and another is osmotic pressure of glomerular capillary. The statement is there. Okay. Note it down. See here. Glomerular capillary, hydrostatic pressure. Just write it. GC is glomerular capillary, P is hydrostatic pressure. And this pi is osmotic pressure or oncotic pressure. So glomerular capillary, oncotic pressure. So note it down. Already it is written here. No. So GC has hydrostatic pressure as well as oncotic pressure. Again, coming to Bowman space, note it down. Bowman space also has two pressures. P is hydrostatic pressure and pi is oncotic pressure. Note it down. So four pressures. The average of these four pressures will determine the glomerular filtration rate. For example, if the pressure is positive, there will be GFR, or the filtrate will move towards the Bowman space and proximal convoluted tubule. If the overall pressure is negative, there will not be any further movement. There will be back movement to the afferent arteriole. So glomerular capillary has hydrostatic pressure as well as oncotic pressure. Bowman space also has hydrostatic pressure as well as oncotic pressure. Now coming to the values, as I mentioned, someone can type why it is 60. I already mentioned why the capillary hydrostatic pressure is very high, because both are arterial run. So just note it down. Glomerular capillary pressure, hydrostatic pressure is 60 with this big arrow, which is going towards the Bowman space, or otherwise it's favoring filtration. The arrow mark which is coming in this direction is favoring the filtration. The arrow mark which is going upwards is opposing the filtration. So this plus 60 is favoring your glomerular filtration. Now coming to glomerular capillary osmotic pressure, note it down. Is around, glomerular capillary, the osmotic pressure is around 30. I think this diagram will be better. Right hand diagram. Okay. When it comes, I will show. So glomerular capillary osmotic pressure. Now don't bother about the value. The 60 alone you remember. Glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure is 0. Is 60, which helps in GFR. Can anyone tell osmotic pressure is due to what? The name suggests osmosis. You can type. I will give time. The glomerular capillary osmotic pressure is due to the presence of what in the capillary? Osmosis. Think of that chapter, osmosis. So whenever some solute is there, to maintain that solute concentration, water will be absorbed. That is called osmosis. So here, the particle is plasma proteins. So the osmotic pressure is because of the presence of plasma proteins. So when more plasma proteins are there, what will happen? Just listen here. For the example, we are taking this glomerular capillary. For example, if there are more plasma proteins than normal, what will happen? That more plasma proteins will try to absorb more fluid. Then what will happen when the more fluid is absorbed? The fluid, instead of going, the filtrate, instead of going down into the Bowman space and the proximal convoluted tubule, it will be going back, or it is opposing the filtration. That's what it is mentioned. Note it down. So the glomerular capillary osmotic pressure opposes the filtration. The glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure favors the filtration, which is plus 60. The glomerular capillary osmotic pressure is because of the presence of plasma proteins in the glomerular capillary. It will absorb the fluid because of the process of osmosis. That is not given in your book. For our understanding, I'm saying that will oppose the filtration. Now coming to Bowman's space. Now imagine what will happen when the hydrostatic pressure here is increased. You imagine this as a pipe. Here the hydrostatic pressure is increased. So what will happen? You will squeeze, for example, you constrict here. Just imagine, see the arrow mark. I am constricting this Bowman space. I am constricting this. So what will happen? The pressure here will increase. What will happen to the filtrate of fluid? It will come down, or it will go in this direction when I'm constricting this. Only when I constrict this, the hydrostatic pressure will increase here. Same way, only when I increase this pressure here, the hydrostatic pressure here will increase. Same thing here. So what I want to mean is, when the Bowman space hydrostatic pressure is increased, it has to go upwards. When glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure is increased, it has to go downwards. So that's all. It is a simple concept. Bowman's osmotic pressure is the reverse. Now imagine when the Bowman space osmotic pressure is here, what will happen? What will this osmotic pressure do? Again, the same thing, it has to absorb. So what will happen? It will absorb the fluid. So when the fluid is absorbed, the fluid is going to come down or it is going to go up when the fluid is absorbed in the Bowman space. When the fluid is absorbed means it has to come from the glomerular capillary into the Bowman space. That means downward direction. But why that Bowman space is not given? Can anyone answer? Or otherwise, what will be the value of Bowman space colloidal oncotic pressure? That's my question. What is the colloidal oncotic pressure? One of the pressures, 4 pressures I told, Starling forces. What is the colloidal osmotic pressure of Bowman space? I will not be able to see chat box. Let me see my students. Please answer this. What will be the colloidal osmotic pressure of Bowman space? I gave you a clue. Osmotic pressure is due to plasma proteins. Okay, next question. Any plasma proteins will enter into the Bowman space. Think of the filtration slit size, 7 nanometer. Think of the basement membrane, which is negatively charged, which will repel the plasma proteins, which are also negatively charged. Now answer. Any plasma proteins will enter into Bowman space. Yeah, some students are answering. Yeah, no, 0. So no plasma proteins will enter into the Bowman space. So now what will be the colloidal osmotic pressure of Bowman space? Yeah, obviously 0. As I mentioned, the colloidal osmotic pressure is due to presence of plasma proteins. That's why they have left that pressure. But if you want, you can write all the 4 pressures and mention you can write here also pi Bs. Pi means colloidal osmotic pressure, Bs means Bowman space. So what is the value of pi Bs? It is 0 because there are no plasma proteins. So that's why we come into these 3 pressures. So again, repeat, even though it is confusing, just try to listen. So glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure will favor the filtration. Glomerular capillary osmotic pressure will absorb. So it will oppose the filtration. Bowman's capsule, Bowman space hydrostatic pressure, I gave the example. If I squeeze this, see the arrow mark. If I squeeze this, what will happen to the pressure here? Yeah, the pressure here will increase. So what will happen to the fluid percent here or the filtrate percent here? It cannot come down because I have increased the pressure here. So it will go upwards. That is opposing the filtration. That's all. Simple concept. So 60, 15, 20, approximately they are given 16. You note it as plus 10. So far, what I am explaining is net filtration pressure, which is plus 10 millimeter mercury according to our Titan. Yeah, here result is given as 10. So see here, plus 60 is constant, which is glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure. 18 is Bowman space hydrostatic pressure. So 80 is Bowman space hydrostatic pressure. That is pressure in the Bowman space, which is sending the fluid into the capillary, into the glomerulus. That is minus 18. And 32 is glomerular capillary osmotic pressure. So glomerular capillary is absorbing because of this osmosis. So when glomerular capillary is absorbing, what will happen? Fluid is not coming down into the base, Bowman space. It is again going back to the capillary. So that also you have to minus. Simple. Which comes to 10. Note it down. So net filtration pressure is 10 because of those 4 pressures, and 1 pressure is 0. And you know the reason why it is 0, because in Bowman space there is no plasma proteins, and oncotic pressure is due to the presence of plasma proteins because of the process of osmosis. Simple. 12.5 we already mentioned Kf, as I told, small f, filtration coefficient, which is a product of surface area and permeability. So we now came to the calculation of GFR is 125 ml per minute. So how it came 125 ml? 12.5 is filtration coefficient into 10 is net filtration pressure. So filtration coefficient is different, filtration fraction is different. So what is filtration fraction? Filtration fraction is fraction of the renal plasma flow that is filtered. Otherwise, out of 700, how much is filtered? So how much is filtered? 125 ml is filtered. That's why it is called GFR. So out of 700, 125 is approximately 20% or 0.2. As I mentioned, 0.15 to 0.2, what was shown there. Yeah, now coming to next slide. So the two determinants of GFR we finished. Kf, which is filtration coefficient, and net filtration pressure. Net filtration pressure is nothing but Starling forces, the 4 pressures. So glomerular capillary will have 2 pressures, hydrostatic pressure as well as osmotic pressure. Bowman space also has two pressures, hydrostatic pressure as well as oncotic pressure. So the combination of all these four pressures will give net filtration pressure, which is plus 10. Yeah, now one by one we will go. When you constrict the afferent arteriole, what will happen? Here, the afferent arteriole is constricted here. So what will happen? Obviously, the blood flow is going to be affected here. Otherwise, I am shrinking this. I am tightening this afferent arteriole. So no blood flow is coming here. So what will happen to hydrostatic pressure? Yeah, that will decrease. When glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure decreases, what happens? GFR decrease. So the question is, when the afferent arteriole constricts, what happens to GFR? GFR decreases. Now coming to here. I will finish this. Yeah, when afferent arteriole is dilated, what happens? When afferent arteriole is dilated, see the blood flow is coming there. This is also as like drainage, which goes into the renal vein. So instead of more filtered coming here, it is trying to go because this is dilated. For example, listen here. Now two places are there for the filter to go. It can either come down or it can go via the afferent arteriole. Normally, some 125 ml is going to come to each glomerular capillary. But what happens here, since it is dilated, this is asking the more fluid to come as it is dilated. So what happens? More fluid to try will get diverted to go there. So what will happen? Here the hydrostatic pressure decreases, and because of that, GFR will decrease. So simple. When you constrict here, GFR decreases. When it is dilated here, GFR decreases. Or otherwise, when you are blocking the incoming, GFR decreases. When you increase the outgoing, GFR decreases. Simple. I hope you understand. When you are decreasing the incoming, obviously the incoming is going to decrease, GFR decreases. When you are increasing outgoing, more is outgoing. More is gone out instead of coming into the glomerular Bowman space. So GFR decreases. This both you understood. Now coming to afferent arteriole. Now see here. I am constricting this. So what will happen? I am blocking the outgoing. So what happens? It is coming, when I block the outgoing, that is afferent arteriole, it comes back and it is coming down. So the GFR is increased and hydrostatic pressure is also increased because of the backflow. Now take this concept. I increase the afferent arteriole. Yeah, obvious. So I think the four diagrams are simple. When afferent arteriole is increased, more blood flow is going to come. When more blood flow comes, the hydrostatic pressure is going to increase. When hydrostatic pressure increases, GFR increases. So you can even take a screenshot of this, which is a very good diagram. You know the copyright is there, no problem. Yeah, the same thing what I mentioned, but I can't interact with you now. So you have to answer yourself. Yeah, when the renal blood flow is decreased, what will happen to GFR? That's my question. When renal blood flow is decreased, yeah, blood flow itself is decreased. So obviously GFR has to decrease, no doubt in that. When afferent arterial resistance is increased, yeah, I am resisting the input. So the hydrostatic pressure will decrease, GFR will decrease. Simple. That's what it is mentioned there. Constriction of afferent arteriole, GFR decreases. Constriction of afferent arteriole. So you remember like this. Afferent arteriole is incoming, afferent arteriole is outgoing. Should not write like this in exam, but for our understanding, I'm telling. So afferent arteriole, when you are constricting, what happens? The more outflow is reduced. So there will be more incoming. Or more outward direction is increased. The same diagram which I told last, maybe it is splitted here. Yeah, the same thing. Yeah, now can anyone answer? I give some time. See here, constriction of afferent arteriole. So you have to think outgoing. So when the afferent arteriole is constricted, GFR is increased, I understand. Why renal blood flow is decreased? Or why filtration fraction is increased? Otherwise, I will put it otherwise. This is the question. Why when the afferent arteriole is constricted, filtration fraction is increased? You can type in chat box. Yeah, this is the diagram I'm asking. See here. When the afferent arteriole is constricted, the renal blood flow is decreased because our outgoing. This is the final. Listen here. The afferent arteriole is the final outgoing of the glomerular capillary, which has both afferent arteriole as well as afferent arteriole. So once you constrict the afferent arteriole, obviously renal blood flow is going to decrease. That does not mean that blood flow itself is decreased, GFR is decreased. Because whatever is coming, you are blocking. That also you should take into consideration. That's what the question. So when I'm blocking the afferent arteriole, the blood flow is decreased because the final out I am decreasing. But here the hydrostatic pressure is increased because of the backflow of the fluid which is expected to go out. So GFR is increased, but blood flow is decreased. So what will happen to filtration fraction? Think of the formula. Let me see, anyone has sent me. I think time is also running. My question was, what happens to filtration fraction when constriction of afferent arteriole? It will be difficult only. I again repeat, when afferent arteriole is constricted, as the scenario, I am constricting this afferent arteriole. What happens to filtration fraction? Renal blood flow is decreased. I told you the reason, because the overall outcome you are blocking. Because what is the flow? The blood is coming, has to go to the afferent arteriole, goes to the glomerular capillaries, has to go to the afferent arteriole, then goes to the renal vein and has to circulate. That is the circulation of the blood here. So that when the afferent arteriole is constricted, blood flow is decreased. No doubt in that. Why pressure is increased? Because you are resisting this outflow and the backflow is there, which increases this pressure. Because of this increase in pressure, GFR is increased. My question was, what happens to filtration fraction? Many are answering increased. And the answer is increased only. Yeah, the filtration fraction is increased. And I hope you know the reason. Filtration fraction is out of the renal plasma flow, how much GFR is coming. Here what happens? Renal blood flow is decreased. Even with the decreased renal blood flow, more GFR is taken. Are you able to understand? Numerator is decreased, but denominator is increased, which means there is increased filtration fraction. So no confusion, just concentrate this diagram or take a screenshot of this so that when you can go through, you can understand. Yeah, this you are trying to answer. Yeah, this let me see. So what happens to the filtration fraction in this diagram? See here, renal blood flow is decreased, GFR is also decreased. In the constriction of afferent arteriole, input itself is blocked. So renal blood flow, whichever blood flow is coming, is decreased. So GFR is decreased, no doubt in that. Yeah, hydrostatic pressure is also decreased because only when the blood comes, some pressure will be there because of the flow of the blood. So hydrostatic pressure is decreased. Because of the decrease in hydrostatic pressure, GFR is decreased, no doubt in that. So blood flow is decreased, GFR is decreased. What happens to the filtration fraction here? Quick. So my question is, what happens to filtration fraction when afferent arteriole is constricted? That's what I made it simple. What happens to filtration fraction when afferent arteriole is constricted? Usually no change will be there because both are decreased. Numerator is also decreased. Denominator is also decreased. Somewhat equal proportion. So you can see here. So time is running. So when afferent arteriole constricts, GFR is decreased, which is understandable. Renal blood flow is also decreased. So what happens? Both numerator and denominator is decreased. Filtration fraction is nothing but the fraction of the renal plasma flow that is getting filtered. Out of 700, how much is filtered? That's all, simple concept. So out of 700, 125 is filtered. Whereas here in this case, what happens? 700 is decreased. Okay, no problem. 600 we keep it. But 125 is also decreased. Are you able to understand? So both numerator is decreased, denominator is decreased. So filtration fraction remains the same. Now let me see if you are able to answer. Yeah, try to answer this. Yeah. See here, what will be the filtration fraction in this fourth scenario? When the afferent arteriole is dilated, so input is more, hydrostatic pressure is more, GFR is more. So renal blood flow is more, GFR is more. So what will be the filtration fraction in this? You can type in chat box. So GFR is also increased, and hydrostatic pressure is also, otherwise blood flow is also increased. So what will be the filtration fraction? It is increased in equal proportion. Yeah, now everyone is answering. It will be 0 because both numerator is increased, denominator is also increased. Okay, with this I'll skip this slide. Enough, I think. We have to a little bit think. That's those who are listening for first time, it may be a little bit confusing. And the way I'm keeping on stressing, it may even still confuse. Yeah. So we can just go through this, just concentrate. You just think incoming, outgoing, simple. So efferent arteriole, which is outgoing, like I have constricted that. So what will happen? The renal blood flow will decrease because the final output is you are blocking. So renal blood flow is decreased, but hydrostatic pressure, I have not mentioned about hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure is increased. Because of the increase in hydrostatic pressure, GFR is increased. So we get increased filtration fraction, which is GFR by renal plasma flow. That is the fraction of 700 ml, how much is going out, which is 125. So no doubt in that. So this and all you are very clear. Filtration fraction is GFR by renal plasma flow. Here no change because both are decreased. Here also no change because both are increased. Here, think of efferent arteriole dilation, which is output. When it is dilated, what will happen? Renal blood flow is increased because final outgoing is more, so more blood is going to go. But what happens? The hydrostatic pressure is decreased. So it is very clear. Hope you are clear because for this itself I took some 15 minutes. Yeah, now coming to some applied aspects. Yeah, when there is BP is increased, what will happen? When there is increase in BP, afferent arteriole usually constricts, and because of the afferent arteriole constriction, we expect GFR to decrease whenever there is increase in BP. So that you can note it down. When there is increase in BP, there is afferent arteriolar constriction. Because of that, there is decrease in GFR for time being, but something will happen to bring GFR back to normal. What is the process called? Or what is the term called? Quick. When GFR is decreased, some process takes place to bring the GFR back to normal. Homeostasis, no. I want there. It is a type of homeostasis we can keep. Even bringing the BP back to normal, we call the term. It starts with A. Auto regulation. So that topic I have left. If time permits, I will complete. Yeah, now think in dehydration, what will happen? So now you can answer yourself. Imagine dehydration. So heavy fluid loss. So what will happen? More plasma proteins are concentrated. You can answer yourself. So what will happen to colloidal osmotic pressure in dehydration? Think and answer. In dehydration, plasma protein concentration is more or less. Dehydration is usually fluid loss. So fluid is lost. Plasma proteins remains. So what happens to the plasma protein concentration? Yeah, plasma protein concentration will increase. So what will happen to colloidal osmotic pressure? Colloidal osmotic pressure will increase. So because of increase in colloidal osmotic pressure, absorption will be more. So GFR decrease. So like that, you have to think each and everything. So applied aspects and all, you can think yourself. Now coming to this, let's see whether you are able to answer. Ureteral obstruction. Ureter means after the nephron, the final output. Yeah, ureter is obstructed by the kidney stone, whatever it is. Now think, what will happen to GFR? Obviously, I think you know the answer. You can take your Bowman space. So imagine. So what will happen to the hydrostatic pressure in Bowman space when the down ureter is obviously below the Bowman space? So what will happen when something below the Bowman space is obstructed? Here, when something below the Bowman space is obstructed, what happens to the pressure in the Bowman space? The answer is simple. Quick. Yeah, the very correct. So when something is obstructing the ureter, or otherwise when something below the Bowman space is obstructed, the pressure in the Bowman space increases. When the pressure in the Bowman space is increases, what happens? Yeah, the arrow will go upwards. Otherwise, the hydrostatic pressure in Bowman space increase means it opposes the glomerular filtration because the Bowman space is present below the glomerulus. That's the concept. So whatever pressure is around the glomerulus and above the glomerulus will increase the filtration. Whatever pressure is present below the glomerulus will oppose the filtration. Simple. So whichever clinical scenario I present, you will be able to tell whether it is increasing GFR or decreasing GFR. Yeah, this is from Guyton, I think. Guyton only. So the answer for net filtration pressure is 10. One pressure is left out, which is 0. Yes, here. Whenever the Bowman's capsule this diagram I could have put first itself. Whenever the Bowman's capsule hydrostatic pressure is increased, it opposes the filtration. Whenever colloidal osmotic pressure of glomerular capillary is increased, it opposes the filtration. Hydrostatic pressure of glomerular capillary is favoring the filtration, which is 60. So the formula is 60 minus 32 minus 18. Make it simple. So 60 minus 32 minus 18, which is plus 10. And you have to multiply it by quick. This 10 is net filtration pressure. What is another factor which contributes to GFR? I have told. What is other factor which contributes to GFR? Which is the product of surface area and the permeability. Yeah, KF, very good. KF is nothing but filtration coefficient. That KF value is 12.5. So multiply 12.5 into this 10, which is 125. That's how you get the GFR. Yeah, no time, so I will just. Yeah, as I mentioned, increased BP or sympathetic increase, what happens? The afferent arteriole constriction will take place, which will decrease GFR. Once the GFR is decreased, autoregulation may take place to try to compensate. But when there is severe shock, for example, when your body is in severe shock, otherwise your BP is very, very less. So what will happen to your GFR? Obviously, it has to decrease so that the blood flow, instead of coming to the kidney, it tries to supply to the vital organs like brain, heart, which are the vital organs, because heart has to pump, obviously, and brain has to receive the blood supply. Kidneys can tolerate somehow. This is also one of the important function of the autoregulation as well as GFR. Yeah, autoregulation, note it down. The autoregulation will take place between 60 and 150 of arterial blood pressure, where GFR and the renal blood flow are try to maintain constant. Note down the two mechanism. So what do you mean by myo? Myo means muscle. So myogenic mechanism. So now we will go to this. Now listen here. Just concentrate this. I will go step by step. When BP is increased, imagine your BP is 180. So what will happen to this afferent arteriole? When BP is increased. See here. When BP is increased, the afferent arteriole tries to stretch because of the increase in BP. Imagine what if blood pressure is nothing but the lateral pressure exerted by the flow of blood on the walls. Otherwise, whatever the blood is flowing, it tries to touch the walls of the blood vessels. But touching the walls, the pressure created by the flow of blood on the walls, lateral pressure. Always blood pressure is lateral pressure. So whenever the BP increases, the afferent arteriole stretch. And we all know stress causes contraction. That is myogenics here. Surrounding vascular smooth muscles contract. So because of the smooth muscle contraction, what happens? The arterial resistance will increase. So once the arterial resistance increases, what happens? It will offset the increase in pressure. So the GFR will try to remain constant. So this is the auto-regulation. Without understanding. Internal afferent arterial constriction decreases the GFR, which is because of increase in BP. But when you take auto-regulation, how the GFR comes back to normal means arterial pressure rises. Because of that, afferent arteriole is stretched because of that increased pressure. Once afferent arteriole stretches, the surrounding smooth muscle contracts. That is, we have to tell about the calcium calmodulin complex, but that is not today's topic. And because of that smooth muscles contraction, afferent arterial resistance increase will offset the pressure increase. So GFR tries to note it on muscle myogenic mechanism. Yeah, this is also simple. See here, when the BP is decreased, what happens? Glomerular filtration pressure will be less. Yeah, this is tubuloglomerular feedback. Note it down. Two types of mechanism I told now. Note it down. One is myogenic, smooth muscle contraction, which causes increased resistance. Another is tubuloglomerular feedback, something that happens in the distal convoluted tubule that will send signals to glomerulars. Tubuloglomerular feedback. As the name suggests, something happens in the tubules, especially distal convoluted tubule. It sends the signals to the glomerulus. Because of that, something is going to happen to GFR, which is called tubuloglomerular feedback. We will see that. See here, when the BP is decreased, what happens? When the BP is decreased, flow itself is going to decrease. GFR will be decreased. When GFR is decreased, the delivery to proximal convoluted tubule will be very less. Or we make it simple, GFR is less, so whatever is going to come down will be less. So sodium delivery to the macula densa is very less. Macula densa is nothing but which is surrounding that distal convoluted tubule. When the sodium delivery is less, that will be sensed by the macula densa. So this now I have no time to explain this. This takes 15 minutes. So just listen, note it down. Decrease the sodium delivery to macula densa. That is the topic. So when the sodium delivery is decreased, that will be sensed by the macula densa cells, which will send the signals to JJ cells, which will secrete renin, angiotensin, or RAS, renin, angiotensin, aldosterone axis, which will cause vasoconstriction, again, which will increase BP as well as try to increase GFR. Another way, this happens usually in efferent arterioles. Here, efferent arteriole. In afferent arteriole, what happens? The decreased sodium delivery will be sensed by the macula densa cells, which send signals to afferent arteriole, where it synthesizes adenosine and ATP, which decreases the afferent arteriole resistance, and vasodilation will take place here. So whenever vasodilation takes place here, GFR increases, which you know. Whenever vasoconstriction takes place in efferent arteriole, again GFR increases. This I told now the 4 diagram. Afferent arteriole constriction means what happened, dilation means what happened. Efferent arteriole constriction means how you should remember means efferent arteriole means output. Afferent arteriole means input. This you should read little bit because time has crossed. So this is tubulo-glomerular feedback. And always remember, efferent arteriole is usually angiotensin. Afferent arteriole is usually epinephrine, norepinephrine. That you can note it down. So epinephrine, norepinephrine usually acts more on afferent arteriole. Note it down. Angiotensin, aldosterone usually acts more on efferent arteriole. That point we can note it down. Yeah, this I explained. Now lack of time. So I'll skip this. Tubulo-glomerular feedback. Here, for example, when GFR is increased, necessitopital. When GFR is increased, more sodium chloride comes to the Bowman's capsule, to the nephron, yeah, to the loop of Henle, whatever it is, and the macula cells, the macula cells will sense this increased sodium chloride. Again, it will decrease the renin secretion, decrease the aldosterone axis, RAS axis will decrease, BP will decrease, GFR will decrease. That's one mechanism. Another mechanism is afferent arteriole, what I told. Yeah, the same thing. This is from Guyton. Yeah, the very useful diagram. You can read the Guyton. Tubulo-glomerular feedback is one of the mechanism how GFR is brought back to normal, which is called autoregulation. I will skip this. No time for this. Yeah, this you can remember. Listen here, note it down. Prostaglandin E2, which is a vasodilator, that is also one of the mechanism which tries to bring the GFR back to normal. Please note it down because there is an applied aspect in this. Prostaglandin E2 is a vasodilator. So obviously, when the vasodilator means it tries to bring the GFR back to normal. So whenever the sodium is decreased, for example, when GFR is decreased, what will happen? The sodium chloride or sodium coming to the macula densa will be decreased. And you know the reason. When the sodium is decreased, it will be sensed by macula densa 2 mechanisms. That is, one to the afferent arteriole, one to the efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole is RAS axis, renin, angiotensin, aldosterone axis. Afferent arteriole is adenosine, another mechanism. But apart from that, PGE to note it down, which is a vasodilator. Yeah, all this I will skip. Yeah, now quick. I want this you to answer in chat box. This is common question. Overon or diclofenac. Usually we tell those who are having kidney patients or kidney problem, Overon should not be taken. Any painkillers for that matter should not be avoided in renal disease. You think over this GFR chapter and reply. Why you should avoid? Hello. Why you should avoid NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs in renal disease? The clue is prostaglandin. That's why I mentioned. I gave the clue. PGE2. So the answer is, whenever you are going to use NSAID, it decreases the prostaglandins. So whenever you are going to use NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, any aceclofenac, diclofenac for that matters, but anyway, we commonly use in clinic, but you have to be very careful in renal disease. The main mechanism of NSAID is it blocks the PGE2, prostaglandin E2, which is a vasodilator. So when this is blocked in already the patient with decreased GFR, what will happen? So this process will be blocked. So there will be further decrease in GFR. The probability is there. So you have to be very careful. This is based on today's topic. Many of the reasons are there, but that is out of topic. Today's topic, understand, when you are going to use NSAID, it decreases prostaglandin, and prostaglandin is a vasodilator which tries to bring GFR back to normal. Yeah, this I discussed. When there is decreased BP, what will happen to GFR? Obviously, it will decrease. So that other parts can try to get cardiac output will try to increase, but urine production will be decreased. This is a type of shock scenario. When there is severe decrease in BP, yeah, as I mentioned, shock, the cardiovascular shock, it goes, sympathetic nerve activity will be increased, afferent arterial vasoconstriction will take place. Because of that, GFR will decrease, but other parts will try to get more blood. This may be less than 60. Above 60, when GFR is decreased, what will happen? This will be sensed by myogenic mechanism as well as tubuloglomerular mechanism. Myogenic is smooth muscle contraction. Tubuloglomerular is the sodium delivery to the macula densa. Simple. Yeah, this already told, no time. This is Dr. Sen Physio, my YouTube channel. This is mainly for putting physiology videos. My students source. If any other students are there, can try to see this. Yeah, I have already given a whiteboard for this. So my plan is what I will be taking the essay topics in some 10 to 15 minutes. For example, ventilation perfusion ratio is an important question that I have discussed in 15 minutes, which will be useful. Same way you can see here. Oxygen dissociation curve is an essay question for you, which I have taken in 16 minutes. It will include everything. Shift to right, shift to left. What is P50? Like, for example, I'm telling molecular basis, I have finished in 9 minutes, which I took. This is an important essay for you. So those who are interested can just go through it. I will try to upload as much videos as possible. I am planning to cover the entire physiology. Important topics like 10 minutes. I will try to still minimize my video. Instead of 16, I will try to finish in 10 minutes like this. So active transport is also very important. The difference between primary and secondary, which I finished it in 7 minutes. My students might have watched. For other students, you can go through this. And one more thing I want is I am planning to change the name from Dr. Sen Physio to Dr. Sen Talks, or you can even suggest a good name for this. This is not a marketing, just for the students only I'm telling, because it is not going to take much time. You need not even subscribe. You can just go through the videos whenever I upload. It may be useful for you. So for example, if you students get benefited even with one video, that is the need for a teacher. We feel happy when you students get benefited because of it.
Yeah, sir. I also personally follow that, and then I also found few videos are really useful. So I guess, guys, you guys also follow his YouTube's channel. Maybe it will also useful for you. Yeah, sir. You can continue, sir. That's what I thought to tell.
Can I continue to our time? Okay, I will continue for some 5-10 minutes. I will rush
Yeah,
it.
sir. Yeah, sir. After 5-10 minutes, I will have the doubt session, and then we
Oh,
can
okay. So just I'm not going to rush for GFR. Just GFR formula is UV by P. In body fluid compartments, you might have seen this. So the substances which are used are inulin, creatinine, mannitol. A common MCQ is asked. And we all know the characteristics of indicator which should be used for measuring GFR. Yeah, it should be non-toxic. Obviously, anything which you are going to inject should be non-toxic. It should not alter the GFR. If it is going to alter GFR, no use. So you can tell yourself what substance you should inject. It should not be reabsorbed. It should not be secreted new. It should come via the glomerulus and excrete as such. That should be the product which you should. That is, it should be neither absorbed nor secreted. It should be okay. I will leave this. So just note it down how the GFR is measured. UV by P, the formula, and you already know the value of GFR 125, which is net filtration pressure into filtration coefficient. I am repeating for understanding. Net filtration pressure is 10 millimeter mercury. The 4 pressures, of which 1 pressure is 0. And filtration coefficient is 12.5, which is the product of surface area and permeability. And more surface area, more filtration. More permeability, more filtration. I gave example also. In diabetic nephropathy, permeability will be decreased, or surface area will be decreased. In fact, in glomerulonephritis, permeability will be decreased. So like that, you have to see the diseases. So this I will skip due to lack of time. Yeah, this you can note it down. This is for NEET PG question. There is a new marker for estimation of GFR. Cystatin C. You can note it down. I'm actually planning to put a video on this also. How to, for first year students, apart from reading this UD, your book, either Gaitan or Ganong, or whatever book J.K. Paul or Venkatesh or whatever book you're going to follow, how to follow after finishing that particular chapter. That will be useful. Let me try that. So note it down. New marker for estimation of GFR is cystatin C. I think Pawan will be knowing about that being third year. So that is cystatin C is a new marker for estimation of GFR, which has been asked in the latest NEET PG question. Yeah, applied aspects. So just think proteinuria. So in which case proteinuria will happen? You can chat quick. So proteinuria, some barrier is broken down. Either filtration barrier, which I mentioned 3 layer filtration barrier. So now we are revising. So don't worry, the time has crossed. It is going to be revision only. So either the basement membrane should have been broken. So what will happen when the basement membrane is broken? What is the basement membrane surrounded by what charges? Quick.
Negative charges, sir.
Yeah, basement membrane or surrounded by negative charges. When the basement membrane is broken, the negative charges are lost. So there is possibility of protein getting filtered, which results in proteinuria. So simple, you can answer. If you ask what glomerular disease, even though you don't know the disease name, as of the class taken today, you can tell that it could be the reason of because of the breakage of basement membrane, something like that. Yeah, thickening of glomerular capillary membrane also decreases the GFR, no doubt in that. Any renal failure, there will be fall in glomerular capillary hydrostatic pressure, which decreases GFR. Yeah, all these I discussed. I will skip this. Yeah, now coming to the questions. This Pavan.
Yeah, sir.
This anyone can answer or they can answer in chat box.
Yeah, sir. Anyone can even answer, guys. So if you want, even you can turn on.
You can take your time. So just think, GFR is increased by all X.
Yeah, sir. Like let the others like.
So think increased renal blood flow, no doubt. Increased renal blood flow means increased GFR. Yeah, now here you have to concentrate. Efferent arterial constriction. Already I discussed. Efferent arterial is output.
I guess it will also increase, I guess, sir.
Yeah, obviously it will increase the GFR. Renal stone in ureter, which is happening below the Bowman's space.
Okay.
So there is obstruction below the Bowman's space. So what will happen to the hydrostatic pressure in Bowman's space?
Increase, sir.
Yeah, increase. So downward pressure. So some pressure below the glomerulus is increasing. So that will oppose the filtration. So what will be the answer for this?
And maybe the renal stone in the ureter. I guess maybe.
Yeah, renal stone in ureter.
Okay.
Yeah, hydroureteronephrosis, whatever it is. When there is any block below the Bowman space, it increases hydrostatic pressure in the Bowman space, which is opposing the filtration. Or you remember, only one pressure increases GFR. You note it down like this. Only one pressure increases GFR, which is quick. Yeah, hydrostatic pressure in, someone is answering. Glomerular capillary, simple. Make it that way. Other pressure is osmotic pressure.
Yeah, sir.
The osmotic pressure of colloidal osmotic pressure. That also increases GFR, but that is colloidal osmotic pressure of glomerular capillary. So two pressures increases GFR. Hydrostatic pressure in glomerular capillary, colloidal osmotic pressure of glomerular capillary.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, this you can note it down, but no time.
Maybe like guys can take screenshot also, so it will be easy for you.
Yeah, obviously in renal disease, what happens? Renal disease, either the basement membrane is broken, or podocytes are affected, or the filtration barrier is breached. So what will happen? That's what it is given. In any renal disease, KF will be less, which causes decrease in GFR. Hypertension I already mentioned, especially in shock. So GFR will be decreased so that cardiac output can be increased, blood flow to the other organs can be increased. Urinary tract obstruction, very clear. Bowman's capsule hydrostatic pressure will increase, which decreases the GFR. This slide is actually important, but I have taken too much time. Okay, I'll skip this.
Okay.
Yeah, this you can type in chat box. Not which of the following is not an effect of efferent arterial constriction. So efferent arterial is outflow. Which of the following is not? So an efferent arterial constriction, what will happen to GFR?
It will
Option B.
increase, sir.
Yeah, GFR will
Increase.
Decrease.
yeah increase. But here it is given which of the following is not an effect.
Yeah, sir. So option A mostly.
Yeah, mostly option A, because GFR actually has to increase when efferent arterial is constricted, because outflow is obstructing. So what will happen? Whatever is obstructed will come back and go as GFR. So GFR is expected to increase. The same thing we discussed. This also we discussed. This you can take a screenshot.
Yeah, sir, sure.
Yeah, this is very easy. I will skip this. Net filtration pressure is 10. It's the correct answer. The normal filtration fraction is. Oh, the answer I told. Okay, net filtration pressure is correct answer.
Yes, sir.
Remaining thing is wrong answer. It is 125 liters per day is wrong. It is 125 ml per minute or 180 liters per day. The normal filtration fraction is 0.2 or 20%, not 0.5. Renal plasma flow is 700 ml, not 1200. What is 1200? It's renal blood flow. Yeah, this I think now. This is very important, Pavan. But this someone can answer. Apart from Pavan, why severe constriction of efferent arteriole decreases GFR, whereas moderate constriction increases GFR? Gift will be given. I can arrange, no problem. Whoever answers, not virtual gift, real gift also I will arrange.
I guess maybe few.
Some other student, anyone can answer.
Yeah, guys.
It is pressure variation.
Why severe constriction of efferent arteriole decreases GFR? Yeah, moderate constriction increases GFR, we understand, which I am telling from the beginning. When output is blocked, it comes back, so the pressure is increased.
Some amount of blood will still be flowing through it.
Okay, some amount of blood flowing that creates pressure.
Initially, it will be
Okay, I will give you a clue. Think of plasma proteins.
aquatic pressure.
So what? Anyone wants to answer, or you can type in chat box. If correct answer is in chat box, only for first year students. Any first year student, whoever is in this meeting.
Sir,
Yeah, tell.
sir, severe constriction causes more accumulation of plasma protein, sir. So,
Why more
oncotic
accumulation
pressure.
of plasma proteins?
What, sir?
Why more accumulation? You are saying more proteins will come.
Sir, severe constriction of efferent arteriole, sir.
Yeah.
So, there will be more backflow, so more plasma protein will be present, sir.
Oh, not exact answer. You have to compare with renal blood flow. So what will happen to renal blood flow here in severe constriction of efferent arteriole?
So, decreases.
Decreasing.
Renal blood flow decreases. So what happens?
So, filtration fraction also will decrease.
No. What will happen to plasma protein concentration? It will be more or less. Or otherwise, plasma protein it will be flowing in the fluid, or it is without fluid.
Sir, since the efferent arteriole is constricted more, that plasma proteins will not go to the circulation.
Yeah, okay, correct. So
Because
what?
of stagnation of blood in capillaries.
No. What happens to plasma proteins? It is concentrated or not concentrated?
Concentrated, sir.
So when plasma proteins are concentrated, it will absorb or it will not absorb.
It will absorb, sir.
Yeah, osmosis.
Yes, sir.
The air colloidal osmotic pressure is too much increased. That causes a decrease in GFR.
Yes, sir.
Whereas moderate constriction, we can think normally. The outgoing is blocked, so backflow. This is very important, but I think no one answered. Maybe I think Motisha I can give. Okay. That voice is Motisha, I guess. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, this I will skip. Yeah, this you can answer anyone. What is the colloidal osmotic pressure of Bowman's capsule in a healthy person? Only first year students. Any first year student. Colloidal osmotic pressure of Bowman's capsule.
25.
How much?
25.
25. No.
Sir, zero.
If you don't answer this, then my class was not good.
Zero, sir.
Sir, 0, sir.
Zero.
Yeah, some boy answered 0. Motisha answered 0.
Praveen.
0.
Sir, plasma protein is not filtered, sir. In the
Yeah,
filter.
plasma proteins will not be filtered in Bowman's capsule. And colloidal osmotic pressure is only because of the presence of plasma proteins.
Yes, sir.
Why plasma proteins not filtered means you have a strong filtration barrier, the 3 layer which I was explaining, from the
Yes, sir.
endothelium to basement
Podocyte.
membrane through podocytes. Yeah, correct. Yeah, 0 is the answer. This I explained. Why GFR decreases in shock? Obviously, BP goes very much low, so hydrostatic pressure will decrease, and it has to compensate to the vital organs like brain, heart. So GFR decreases in shock. Yeah, this is also important, but lack of time, you can read it. Biphasic response of efferent arteriole. Same thing. What I was telling now, just now. for that answer to bring. That is, listen here. Moderate constriction of efferent arteriole increases GFR. Severe constriction of efferent arteriole, what it will do? Severe constriction of efferent arteriole.
Decreases GFR.
Decreases.
Yeah, decreases GFR. What I explained. That is biphasic response. Okay, I explained it already. Yeah, what could be the reason? Anyone wants to answer? A patient came to OPD with BP of 140 and high BP, and he was given AC inhibitor. NVOS 5 milligram tablet for 3 months. He didn't come for follow-up. After 3 months, he came with lab reports of decreased GFR. What could be the reason?
Hypoglycemic drug, sir. That's why.
What, ma?
It is a hypoglycemic drug, no, sir.
Hypoglycemia and GFR what relation? I don't get.
It's
Sir, the blood flow will be slower and.
It's hypertensive drug, AC inhibitor. Answer again. Answer. Angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. So what happens?
Sir, it causes constriction of efferent arteriole, sir.
Yeah, there is a possibility of causing constriction of afferent arteriole also. I
Yes,
told
sir.
no. Listen here. Aldosterone and angiotensin both are efferent arteriole mainly correct. So what happens? Because of that effect, there may be a probability of decreased GFR. So you have to concentrate on RAS axis. Angiotensin converting enzyme is inhibited. Yeah, this we explained already. Prostaglandin's importance I explained by painkillers. Angiotensin 2 causes constriction of efferent arteriole, whereas norepinephrine causes constriction of efferent arteriole. AC inhibitor causes this is what AC inhibitor causes efferent arteriole relaxation, because of which the patient might GFR might have been decreased. So yeah, the answer for this is this. So when he was taking AC inhibitor NVOS 5 milligram without monitoring, there may be a possibility of decrease in GFR. This also you can take screenshot. Very, very important slide. Maybe last half an hour I was very fast because of lack of time. And I have to go to clinic also.
sir, maybe I guess we can end, sir. Actually, maybe we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
have the doubt session and then we can.
Yeah, this is last. That's why I ended.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll complete this question, sir. Soon.
If anyone wants to answer, they can answer. So here's here. A patient came with complaints of decreased urine output. His GFR was 110. Renal blood flow was 900. What is his filtration fraction? This is easy. You can calculate. I want you the formula. That's all.
Oh yeah. True.
Can anyone tell?
11 by 90.
You tell the numerator, denominator.
11 by 90 into 100.
1 by 90. My students can send in WhatsApp the answer for this filtration fraction.
The numerator is 110, denominator is 900, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? It is wrong.
90
Wrong.
into 100.
Wrong. I know mostly everyone will tell 110 by 900. Now tell me the formula for filtration fraction. Quick. What is the formula for filtration fraction?
GFR by renal.
Yeah, GFR by.
Renal plasma.
Yeah, renal plasma flow. What is given?
Renal blood flow, sir.
Yeah, that you have to concentrate. So renal blood flow is 900 ml means almost 60% of that will be renal plasma flow. So you have to convert 60% of the 900. That you have to divide by 110. Are you able to understand? So it may be 110 by 540. Out of figure, everyone, most of them, even I will answer 110 by 900 when I'm not reading the question formally. So filtration fraction is GFR by renal plasma flow. Okay, with this I will stop.
Yeah, sir. Okay. Guys, if you have any doubts in this session, you can post it up in the chat box.
Will I be able to see chat box, Ra?
Sir, you slides sir. You can see. Come to the. Okay, you can even stop.
Exit
sharing,
slideshow, sir.
Sir, any questions are there?
I'll wait for a minute. If not, we can conclude, sir.
It's okay. It's good only 1.5 hours. I think students might have listened.
Okay, sir. Then I guess.
Any doubts, Pa?
So we'll take
Some
it up.
typed 45 WhatsApp messages. Okay. That means it's okay. Chat la doubts irukka Pavan?
Yes, sir, not yet. So I guess we can conclude, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our request and just put all your effort and time to teach us. I hope this session is not we term it as only as a physiological session, because for dealing every disease, a pathologic condition, physiology being a backbone for it actually. Without knowing a proper physiology, we can't actually diagnose this disease. So I guess that's how medicine works, I guess, sir. So would you like to conclude anything so that we can end the session?
Yeah, I would like to thank you also, the professionals. I think you students conducting, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's good. I'm regularly, actually, I'm following Instagram only last 1 month after starting the channel so that I can upload in Instagram. Previously, I don't use Instagram and I don't know also. Now I'm seeing through that only we got contact with you, and regularly I am putting updates and calling various speakers also, so that you're keeping your students also. It's
Yes,
really
sir.
good. I like these students, and my students also know about this. So we'll also continue work together, no problem.
Yeah, sir. Sure, sir.
And anytime you can call me, I will also help in
Yeah, sir.
sharing my ideas and sharing my views.
Okay, sir. Okay,
And
sir.
students, if possible, you can. I will let you know that YouTube channel. If possible, I will upload the videos. Mostly, I will try to do. Let us see.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys, for patient listening to us. Yes, we'll end. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.